In this episode of SNG Explains, we will talk about the fund crisis in UNRWA, or the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees.
The Secretary-General is horrified by this news and asked Mr. Lazzarini to investigate this matter swiftly and to ensure that any UNRWA employee shown to have participated or abetted in what transpired on October 7th or in any other criminal activity be terminated immediately and referred for potential criminal prosecution.
Amid war and devastation in Gaza, the premier humanitarian agency there, UNRWA, is in the middle of an unprecedented crisis, accused by Israel of being complicit in the October 7th Hamas attack. The agency has had to dismiss no less than 9 employees after an investigation. 2 others are being investigated, but the problem does not end there.
You'll notice that for different reasons, the funding of the agency has been an issue for several years. One part of the funding problem is linked to the overall UN budget, from which the agency gets very little. Only 3% of the agency's budget comes from the UN General Assembly budget. 93% of the budget of this agency comes from voluntary contributions. Among the voluntary contributors, the largest contribution comes from the European Union. It's, they are almost more than $100 million out of the total expenditure on the ground of about $900 million.
Intelligence reportedly conveyed by Israel to the US claims that no less than 1,200 Gazans working for the UN Relief Agency have links to either Hamas or Palestine Islamic Jihad. Major donors, including the United States, United Kingdom, and Germany, have stopped funding the agency and warned they will not resume until suitable corrective measures are taken.
The 3 big areas where the agency operates is in health care, in education, and in helping with employment. And their mandate is to assist Palestinian refugees. Now, they have registered almost 5.6 or 6 million Palestinian refugees who are spread out in 5 areas. One group are in Jordan, another in Syria, another in Lebanon. And there are 2 sets inside Palestine, which is in the West Bank and Gaza. And there are 2.2 million Palestinian refugees registered in Gaza. But they form part of the bigger scope of 6 million Palestinian refugees for whom this $900 million is spent. So I think that this is something that probably is relevant for anyone who is looking at the issue of the funding and the suspension of funding, etc.
Israel is demanding that the relief agency be moved out of Gaza, indicating it has no faith in it. It wants some other agency to step in, which is independent and credible. Israel will not relent, and its Western backers appear determined to support Tel Aviv. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres is meeting donors in New York, hopeful of finding a solution that would enable him to resume relief operations in Gaza. The Palestinian Authority and Hamas have said humanitarian operations must resume and blamed Israel for exacerbating the human crisis.
You see, Israel has made a point which has been made to the United Nations because the agency comes under the United Nations administration. Now, the United Nations has acted immediately and announced that it is suspending the 12 people who have been named. So they have taken action in a democracy like even in India. If there's an allegation of some wrongdoing by a government functionary, then that person is suspended and the investigation takes place. Now, the investigation needs a certain time and process to be conducted. And only when the investigation is complete will the outcome be known of whether these people were actually guilty or not guilty of what they are alleged to have done.
The funding crunch comes at a time when the situation in Gaza deteriorates every day, given the pace and intensity of Israel's attacks. Casualties are mounting on all sides, but it is the civilians caught in the middle of this war that demands attention. Exit from what is a hellhole is impossible with no neighboring Arab country ready to accommodate the Gazan refugees. At the same time, Israel is determined to eliminate Hamas from Gaza, and to that end will stop at nothing. Stay tuned for more such topics on SNG Explains. We will be back with a new topic for you. Till then, keep watching Strat News Global. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.